Good evening, everyone who's watching. My name is Daniel Evans, and this is for the video section of the week one homework assignment. And in terms of something that's related to the class, I'd like to talk about something I've been thinking about since before this class probably even started. It's the many indirect economic benefits of sports. For starters, like whether it's a worker or a college student, because I know this happened to me, like sports make workers more encouraged to work. Maybe not encouraged, but it helps them get through it because they can always go home and relax to sports. Or what about sports on the weekend? Because I know for a fact that it applies to many people. So if there wasn't sports, then a lot of them would not be as encouraged to work because they won't be as in good of a mood, and thus productivity would go down. Which I'm pretty sure that's under behavioral economics, though I might be wrong. Also, sports create a form of community which brings people together, and that increases productivity in various ways. I actually saw in a video episode from the show American Dad on this how this guy realizes about sports that the reason that it's important is, for all of its flaws, it brings communities together. Like, it keeps them vibrant. Kind of goes back into my first point about how sports encourage and lifts people's moods up, and that's what makes it so important. Also, a not so indirect one, but kind of, is how it can help schools get funding, which can be important for rural areas. It can be an opportunity for those in poverty, and also it benefits the food industry, which is, I know, is not an indirect thing, but it's not something most people think about. When I said indirect, I should have said indirect and also not as recognized. Also, it encourages local tourism because a lot of visiting fans come, because when fans come, they go to the shops and stuff, and that's good for the local economy. Take Clemson, for example, one of the best football teams out there. So, according to an article I read, as they lose at the very least, when COVID hit and the football season was momentarily canceled, businesses lost at least half of their revenue. Some lost as much as 94% of their revenue because Clemson's stadium fits far more people than the town of Clemson's actual population. It doesn't even have a big fan base outside of the town in its own state. Most of that goes to the University of South Carolina, despite the fact that Clemson's clearly the better team. So honestly, like, the local tourism, its crucialness can be staggering. And similarly, it can promote local businesses, especially by sponsoring them, and also because of the local tourism thing I just mentioned. Also, the fact it encourages people to be healthier, and also the people who even those who don't participate in a sport, like even those who look up to those in sports, are encouraged to be healthier. And not only does this make them more productive, they get to work faster if they jog, and it makes stuff like tools for jogging more popular, like those watches that count your heartbeat that cost like $500. So also, it reduces health costs and costs for families by making sure that they're healthier, which lowers the chance of stuff like heart attack and stuff, and it boosts local food stuff again with things like sports food and stuff. And so it boosts life expectancy and stuff like that. Sorry. So anyways, those are many indirect and or unnoticed benefits of sports industries. Now, in terms of the two discussion questions, the first possible discussion question for our class is, what in the sports industry, what connections of statistics can be identified as correlations, as in one thing directly causes the other, and what are not correlations but are instead casualties. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but not causality. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but basically it's a coincidence, but one of them does not directly affect the other. One of them was mentioned in the discussion questions for the other assignment due this Sunday. And lastly is, the other discussion question is, what is the importance of behavioral economics in when it comes to sports economics in comparison to other potential industries in which economics can be applied, like compared to, say, politics? How important is behavioral economics? And even without comparing it, just how important is behavioral economics and how many decisions does it affect? So that is my video answer to this week's assignment and also the 2 proposal discussion questions. I hope whoever's watching this enjoyed. Thank you and have a good night.